Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I hope you're not getting tired of me. What is happening, the thing that's really taking place, is that time is passing for me and for you, and all kinds of things are going on that many of us do not understand. And yet, there is a message that each of us should at least have to address at one time or another, and it is about our lives, our living, and we should be able to move on up about our understanding daily and definitely generationally. And so sometimes we might not be doing those things, and we fall behind, and then we can look around us and make a distinction of that time because it is a time when the nation is going through some of its greatest sorrows. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you and speak to you about the things that I do about basic human rights because we the people need it. And I come to you in the name of God. I come to you in the name of God because I know that in order for every human being on the face of the earth to have someone that cares about them as much about the first as much about the last, and no one left out. I think if anybody can do that, it has to be a parent. Not a neighbor, not a friend. I mean, these things are good. But to love them all, got to be a parent. And who can be the parent of all the human beings on the face of the earth? The Maker. And that Maker I call God. And why do I say that Maker cares about every last one of you equally? I say that because we all have bodies. And our bodies require the same thing, basically just to exist, every last one of us. And it is provided for. And then there are other essentials that are necessary for us to survive. Every last one of it is coming amongst us. None of us can escape it. Food, clothing, shelter, education, health care. And the way, an easy way to simplify it so that each of us can have these desires met, the easiest way is for each of us to have a career. And that Maker of us instilled in us a specific desire for a specific kind of career. And every career that each of us have is entangled, tied up with the necessary ingredients to create all of the goods, all of the services that we the people have determined are essential in our lives. And yet, as we can imagine, as we can grow, those imaginations are fed with all of the materials, the resources that might be even unseen, whether it's above, on, or in. And yet, that imagination empowers us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I come to tell you that life is a wonderful thing. Life is always a wonderful thing. But you must know that being of God, that means the spirit in each of us is of God. That's why we can walk around and do all the things that we can do, because we are life. And we just happen to be in these bodies. You see, the reason many of you have heard that we're in these bodies are many. But I'm going to tell you a reason that I was inspired to mention to you today. Consider this. We look at our nation and another nation. We look at what we call spirit and world. And sometimes that can get so complex we just can't wrap our minds around it to come up and evaluate a conclusion that seems to make sense. So you can possibly bring it down a little bit to a level that we can easily understand it. Let's look at it like this. The me that's speaking to you right now is alive, and it will always be alive. And to you who are hearing me or seeing me will always be alive. You will, I will. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that we are spirit, and we don't die. But everything, as I mentioned a moment ago, can be done. Everything that you put your mind to, that you could perceive, I'm going to tell you, you can do it. But here's the catch. It can either be good or it can either be bad. See, that's the choice. It can be good or it can be bad. Now, here in this body form, here's where I test the spirit in us, which wants to live according to the righteous side, and the body that we're using, which drives us or pulls us to the other side, the spirit, the material side, the material side. And so now we got a fight going on within ourselves, what we should do spiritually and what our body is calling us to do. Now, why are we here in this body? To make a choice. You have no place being where you don't want to be. If you're going to be spirit, you got to know it, and you got to know why, and you got to want it. If you're going to be flesh, you got to know it, you got to know why, and you got to want it. But in time, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I said a moment ago, you keep coming back. I'm talking about reincarnation. And I say that because of the God that I'm speaking to you about. I am not talking about the God that everybody else tells you about. I'm talking to you about the God that I'm speaking to you about. You keep coming back. Why? Because that God made you. You are still the child of that God. And you still have choice. The Father is still waiting. However long it takes. You might have to go through some stuff, though. I hope it don't take too long. Because you could be getting bombed up in these places by drones. You could be going in these floods and stuff. Just, you don't even want to think about tsunamis and all of these things you can be enduring. Because you're still in the flesh and you're not going according to. See, if you go according to the spirit mind, the good mind in the flesh, you're going to create heaven on earth. So that is great. Now, let me help you to understand what I'm saying. One thing that is interestingly common amongst us is sex. Now, I don't know why, but it is. Number one concern amongst all the people that's common is sex. I'm going to tell you something that is probably a secret. Most of you don't know it. But that wouldn't be anything strange. There are many things you don't know. That's why we have secret societies. Somebody might know this, but I'm going to share it with you as I've been given. Spirit can have sex. Don't need a body. Nothing like that. Spirit. All it needs is your spirit. And you can have the greatest orgasm you could ever imagine. Just by spirit. You don't hurt nobody. You ain't bothering nobody. You ain't messing over nobody. You're just using the gifts of life. But now, in the flesh calls for physical indulgence involving. And it's motivated by all kinds of emotion. But the things that you see, oh, she looks so good. Oh, he looks so handsome. Oh, wow, 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 and wow, wow, wow. And all these things just keep pulling you and pulling you and pulling you. And if you don't know your life, if you don't know the spirit, what are you going to do? You're going to go with the flesh. Because you're being controlled by the flesh. And the flesh say, come on. And you go. And see, all of the things that happen after that are usually guided and dictated by flesh. And it can be hell, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about going to hell. If you knew what heaven was like, if you knew what it was like to live in spirit, you'd know that anything fleshy as it is hellish. And you would be able to make your choice a lot easier than you are making it. Now, you've heard it said that, and I'm going to go back to those of you who study the Bible, that man was put in a garden, basically implying that all the things that man could ever want to do, it was accessible, achievable in the garden. When you think of the garden, I think of the earth. I think of the earth. But to put some limits, to put some restrictions, and what is that for? To separate you from the ultimate authority. Otherwise, you'll be thinking you're the ultimate authority. You'll be thinking that it is you that can fix all the problems. You would think it is you that know more than anybody else. You'll think that it is you. And people, you can get people to believe you. They'll be following you. And I ain't going nothing but deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in hell. So, you got to make a choice between the flesh. But if you don't know the Spirit, how are you going to even contemplate it? Well, every now and then, somebody amongst you is touched. It's almost like a burning bush that you're looking at, and the bush just don't burn up. Everything you know about fire and wood and leaves and branches put together burns up. But this thing won't burn up. And then it seems as if it's speaking to your mind and it's saying something to you. Woo! You come back and tell somebody that, you think they're going to believe you. No. Your miracle is for you. You can share it, but it's for you. Yeah, nobody got to believe it. You believe it. And how do we know you believe it? Because you're responding in kind to it. And so I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, here's that voice saying, violate the rules of truth. Take a chance. You will not surely die. And here's Spirit hearing this message. Somebody or something saying, do it. Do it. Do it. Hey, the Creator knew that was going to happen. That was put there for that purpose. And what happened? You know the story. Did it. I'm not going through all the other little things that happened, but ultimately did it. And what happened because of that? Here we are in physical form. Here we are in physical form. Now we're here in physical form to do what? To learn. To learn good, bad, and the difference. And choose. Now, I could go and tell you a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to give it all to you at once. And I'm not going to probably be coming back to you unless the Spirit directs me to. Again, unless maybe some of you ask me to. Here's the key. In this body is truth. And most all human beings just being in a body with absent truth, I don't care how good we thought we are. I don't care anything about what we imagine ourselves to be. We have all been in the path of selfish. We've been in the path of materialistic. We've been in the path of not good. Not good. Always. Everybody, every institution, every organization, whatever purpose it was created for, if it wasn't created to, you think jails were created? Prisons were created to bring about good? No. No. They were created to protect the interests of those who benefit from those of which you violated according to a law they had established to protect. But if you know the truth, this is what you'll do. This body wants to live forever. It doesn't know that what is in it will live forever. If you know the truth, you do know that. And because you do know that, you're not afraid of the president. You're not afraid of the generals. You're not afraid of the superior group. You're not afraid of the cops. You're not afraid of racism. You're not afraid of anything. Why? Because the greatest thing that any of those can do to you is to free you from this body. And you live in your life every day as if you want to get away. And see, you really do. Because if you can't see out here the kinds of things that refreshes and replicas your ideas of what you know about heavenliness. You don't see it? You're in the wrong place, you know that. And you also know that the only way you can get out is to die. Now, people who are led by the Spirit don't want to die from sickness. They don't want to die from diseases. They do not want to die from accidents or any of that old crazy stuff. They want to die because evil didn't appreciate them. Evil said they got to go. Anybody that knows God will stand up any day. And I'm going to tell you right now, since I'm telling you this about anybody that knows God will stand up any day. I envision a life as you've seen me describe. And in that life, I'd love to be here to carry on with all of you because I know we would have a fine time. Boy, there's no life like all of us new people who don't know each other getting a chance to know one another. And all of our stories are fantastic and different. My. But absent that, the struggles. Look at you, how long you have to work every day, how hard you have to work, sometimes overtime, trying to make enough money to grab those little truckets you think you want. And you do want them. But they're costing you. You work overtime, you come home, you sleep, you're tired, you're angry with your kids, you're angry with your spouse, you're angry on the job, you don't like it, you're just going through existing, hoping that you can survive long enough to retire, and that if you retire, you can maybe find some worthwhileness. You know I'm telling you the truth. You who are young, you know your parents. Some of them have been very successful, but that didn't mean anything. Some of them are miserable. That's as miserable can be. But they lived in a time when they wanted to have their dreams met. And they came through a body which had been misguided, absent of the truth, to let them know that they could have it. Oh, my friends. I'm going to leave it alone. Because if you can't get that, bye-bye.